And welcome back to the Drive on QR Calgary. It's time to go inside the glass, as we do every Thursday at this time on the show. Inside the Glass is brought to you by Calgary Co-op Wine Spirits Beer. Enjoy member-exclusive savings on your favorite sips. Visit coopwinespiritsbeer.com. Kevin Schorath is joining me in the studio this afternoon to talk about what featured prominently in Sideways.
Why are you so into Pinot? I mean, it's like a thing with you.
Sideways, the film, Kevin. Welcome, by the way.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you again, my friend.
You as well,
So,
too.
obviously, Pinot Noir, one of the lead characters, loved Pinots, found them. That was his jam. That's where he went. And there's that prominent scene where, of course, we are not drinking Merlot.
Yep.
And you were telling me an interesting stat. Even though that film's 20 years ago, Merlot sales have not recovered?
Not to the same extent that they were back then. So it's dubbed the Sideways effect. And if you're going through any kind of like wine education, it's still talked about 20 years later, because
Really?
Merlot has not quite gotten back to the level of sale and popularity that it had pre Sideways in 2004, which is absolutely hilarious. But Pinot Noir, on the other side, has had a much higher increase in popularity.
Really?
Yeah, big time. So it's honestly, oddly enough, it's one of my favorite, if not it is my favorite wine, red wine rather.
Me too. I find it so subtle, it's delicious on many different levels,
Yeah, absolutely. So Pinot as a grape is really thin skinned. So you're not really ever going to get a lot of deep color from it. And because it's also thin skinned, you don't get major tannins with it as well. So that really mouth drying sensation that you get with, like, say, Cabernet Sauvignon, very thick skinned grape. Tons of tannins in the grape skin. So with Pinot, you don't really get that.
Okay. And this week you're featuring a Pinot Noir from Argentina, right?
From Argentina, yeah. Definitely up and coming in the world of Pinot Noir. I mean, obviously Argentina, we know Malbec is kind of the king down there. But it's getting trickier and trickier currently with how alcohol prices are increasing to find good Pinot Noir for a reasonable price. So you have to start looking outside of the classic regions. I mean, Burgundy in France is where Pinot comes from originally, but to get even entry-level bottles of Pinot Noir now, you're looking at $40 to $50, which is
really from Burgundy.
From Burgundy,
wow.
Yeah, for something half decent from Burgundy, it's in the $40 to $50 kind of dollar range, and a lot of them are going up pretty substantially in price. Like last year, one producer was only $40 for a bottle from Burgundy, and this year it's $60. So it's gone up by 50%.
Oh gosh, okay. And so this one is the Manos Negras Pinot Noir from Argentina.
Yes.
And so how much would this run you a bottle then?
It runs $19.69.
So just under $20.
Yep. Which it's very tricky to find Pinot at that price point that's actually any good.
Yeah.
But this particular one, Manos Negros, it means black hands.
Yeah.
And they're big believers in being very, very hands-on. And if you're making red wine, no matter what, as a winemaker, your hands are going to be stained purple at the end of the harvest, at the end of fermentation and everything. So that's where the name comes from.
Nice.
For the winery.
Okay, and it scores 90 points on various. So I mean, like it's got chops. It's got some flavor to it.
Yeah.
And in true Pinot fashion, I'm just holding it up against the lights in the studio here, Kevin, and it is like it's translucent.
It looks
really
like cranberry juice.
It really does. Yeah. It really does. And when on the nose, like, how would you describe this?
So Pinot very typically has very strong red fruit aromas. So you're looking at things like cranberry, strawberry, cherry, raspberry, that sort of thing. But it also has this very earthy characteristic to it. So think cooked mushrooms, like if you're hiking in the mountains and it's just been raining and you're... That
is
like
a great way to describe
sort of idea.
And
right?
in different areas, so I know Oregon Pinots are very earthy, at least to me.
Yep.
And now Argentinian Pinots, are they also earthy?
I mean, there is some variation between where it's coming from. So this particular wine is actually from Mendoza, from the Uco Valley within Mendoza. Relatively high elevation, so you're going to retain that fresh acidity that's required for Pinot to kind of be just zippy, essentially.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
But where arguably the top quality Pinot comes from is in Argentina, is down south in Patagonia in a subregion called Rio Negro. That particular region, you're going to find some more premium examples of Argentinian Pinot Noir, kind of like starting in the $40 range, much like Burgundy, but equal quality.
Equal quality. Wow. Yeah. And do all the grapes originate from the Burgundy valleys or the Burgundy area of France?
For Pinot and Chard, yeah.
Yeah, because they've been clipped and then transported,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where it originally comes from. So.
Okay. And now, because we're doing this segment about Manos Negras, it's 15% off online from today till the 28th of May at at coopwinespiritsbeer.com.
Yep.
And you also still have a few tasting events left before you take a hiatus for the summer, right?
Exactly. So July and August, we always kind of take a break because nobody wants to be inside when it's, light until 11 and, nice and you can sit on the patio. So why come and, hear me talk for 2 hours? So we're running tastings through the end of June. That's when the end of our calendar is done. And then we'll kick up again back in mid-September sort of time frame.
Nice.
So there's a handful left to go. My location, I've got four left at Crowfoot. So yeah, my last one's on June 22nd.
Nice. June 22nd, Crowfoot location, but all the different locations have different events on, right? And coopwinespiritsbeer.com, that's where you can find out all those tasting details and the sign-ups and that type of thing?
Yeah, so there's an events tab on winespiritsbeer.com.
Gotcha.
So you can swing over there and see what's upcoming at the different locations. So
nice. Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. Nice. Events tab. There's a lot coming up at the different locations. Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for the Pinot.
Of course.
And thank you for the talk about Sideways.
Yeah.
It still has an impact.
Still has an
20
impact.
years later. That's so fun.
Yep.
Well, fun and weird, I guess. The impact of Hollywood on sales of things, right?
Absolutely.
We are not drinking Merlot. Oh, the Sideways effect. Have a good evening, my friend. Good to see you again,
Thank
Kevin.
you so much.